Hi, Mark here. I trust you're all well. Welcome to this recording of a live Lightroom skills and support session that I hosted in December 2025. The narrative for the evening was workflow, and my learning objectives was all about provoking you to think about your workflow. So I shared some of my tips and tricks of how I batch import. I share them with my devices, how I do some basic editing, and also what I call a base edit. We then moved on to a Lightroom short, which was smart collections syncing with your devices. And I showed a legacy way and then the newer way that I share my smart collections from Lightroom Classic to Lightroom devices. And then the floor was open to your questions. How can I do this? You've got a problem with that. Is this right? And so on. If you'd like to come and join us, just visit lightroommark.com as an introductory video, and down below the video is the upcoming events. Whilst you're there, you can sign up to my newsletter if you so wish. I hope this is of benefit to you, and if you do like it, please subscribe, like the video. If you've got a question, ask it in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So without any further ado, let's jump across to the recording. Happy photography. Evening everybody. This week we are going to be looking at workflow, and then I've got a lovely little plugin to show you, and then it'll be open up to your questions. And the first thing with workflow, there's no right or wrong way. You know I say that all the time. It's the way that you want to do something. So I'm here to provoke you to think about, oh, I do it this way and I do it that way. So I'm going to show you some workflow actions that I do through import, developing and sharing, and why I do it. And I'll explain that to you. And it might, some of you may have seen some of them before, and I keep changing. I keep changing my workflow. I keep looking at my workflow. I keep learning my workflow. It's not something that's static for me. I'll sit there and go, I could do that better. That would save me more time. Or, oh, I've just learned something new today. If I did it like that, that would save me 10 minutes, on 1,000 images. So, and when Adobe brings out new functionality, for example, the AI mask. Has anyone seen the video that I put up on YouTube about automatically? You don't do anything. Lightroom Classic does this for you. Done a YouTube video, remove all your sensor dust. Automatically. You don't do a thing. Anyone seen that?
Yeah, I saw it today.
Yeah. Yeah, there's in my Lightroom Mark YouTube, there's a video that I show you how, and it's the AI does it unique for every single image. Automatic. You do not have to touch a button, and it does it all on import for you.
Just raw images, right?
Yeah, just raw at this moment. And it's so, but Adobe will bring out stuff, in the future. So that's raw. Phone you won't have sensor dust on them, but you could have dirt on the lens. And in the new iOS 26, I think it's only on the 17. I'll stand corrected. There's a functionality where it'll actually say your lens is dirty. Clean your lens. So on the newer cameras. So I think it's an iOS 26 setting, but it may be just the 17. I don't know, but I've got it on mine.
I think I had it on my camera yesterday, on my phone yesterday.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So you've got
That's
a
16 Pro,
16. Yeah. Right. So it's an iOS 26 functionality, where it'll tell you your lens is dirty. So that's using AI again. So, so I'm going to show you a few things tonight. We're going to go through. We're going to do importing. I'm going to explain the reasons why, and we'll do a look at the base edit. So I'll explain my reasoning why, and we'll look at a little bit of sharing and my reasons why. So, as most of you are aware, I always start at where I want to get to, my finishing point. My finishing point is presenting my images to my marketplace. My marketplace can be anything. It could be just myself. It could be the camera club competition. It could be a stock library. It could be on my website to sell. It could be on a newsletter, whatever my finishing point is. And my finishing point always relates around the finished image with metadata in a collection. That's my finishing point. So that's where I actually start at a collection. So I will create a collection for a group of images. It could be a collection set if it's a totally new narrative. So I would go collection set, Astro. There's my collection set. And we'll go call the collection Cellworthy Church. That's going to be my collection. Now, at this point, I then decide, do I want to put these images in the cloud? And the reason why I do it this way is actually it's the user interface. It's so much easier doing it, or I find it so much easier doing it this way. Okay. I know where all the buttons are. I can't type properly. I get words wrong and letters wrong way around and so on, and etc. But it's so much easier. I now decide whether do I want this on my device, and that could be time dependent. So for example, I know how many images I've got to import. I don't want to sit here. I just want to press the button, walk away and leave it and pick it up on my phone or on my tablet a little bit later. So at that point, I will decide that I'm going to sync this with the cloud for me, only for me. So I'm going to create that collection, and there is that collection with synced. Okay. I could go to the import dialog, and in file handling, I could add the collection here, press the plus and press it here. Okay, but these are smaller boxes as far as I'm concerned. So much easier to do it just here. And I put the collection where I want the collection to be, that final resting place. You'll hear me say that several times. Now it's about importing the images. And I batch import. I import in narrative. So we're going to copy as DNG and where they're coming from. Here's the images. And these are night shots. So we can see this image. This was shot. You can see the stars at around about 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. But you'd say it's daylight, wouldn't you? Because the set.
Yeah, the shooting star. You've got a
Yeah.
shooting star in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Because I was aware of my situations, and I have a base setting. This is what, when I do astrophotography, this is where I start at. And this is what the image was, where I start at with my images. And a lot of you that have been on my workshops will know I talk about doubling and halving settings. What am I trying to capture? What am I trying to say? What am I trying to do? So I'll start at a base setting and work forwards. And I do that with my developing as well, a base setting. So I've got these images here. And the first group of them are me testing my settings to find what are the right base image settings that I'm going to take. And I took 200 images to stack them later. Okay. So I'm going to import all of these as one batch because it's one narrative as far as I'm concerned. And excuse the framing, this was a workshop. I was showing the skills, not the results. So this is what I'm going to import, these images here. There's 215 of them. I want, in my case, one-to-one previews. So they're fast rendering when I go next image, next image, next image. In every module, apart from the develop module, they're a preview. I want to build smart previews. So if I walk away from this computer, just take my catalog with me. I'm not going to take my big 180 terabyte drive with me with a 15-mile extension lead or anything like that to plug it into the mains. I want those images with me so I can edit them, so I can print them as a 10 by 8 print. So I tick this box. That is perfect workflow for anybody that's got a laptop. or a direct attached storage that they're not going to take with them, but they want their images with them. Build smart previews. Do not import duplicates. Straightforward. Don't import rejected images. This is new. Okay. So if the catalog has picked up images in the past that they're rejected, it won't bring them back in again. So second copy, add to a collection. I want to add it to that collection that I've just created. Okay, remember this one's in the cloud. It's going to sync to the cloud. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rename them. So there we go. Rename. So I'm going to rename, and it shows me what the rename and the sample is going to look like. Then I'm going to add keywords. Now I could add metadata, IPTC metadata. Over here we talked about the other week. Okay, I could select a preset. Okay, which could contain keywords. So I wouldn't have to type in here because they would be in the preset. Okay, there's my keywords. Now I've got this develop preset, what I was talking about, dust. Okay, and if I had that develop preset to switched on, which is well selected what it is at the moment, it will remove all my sensor dust. However, astrophotography don't normally do that because is it a star? Is it a sensor dust? Is that part of the cloud, part of the Milky Way? Don't want to confuse Lightroom that. It could, I'm not saying it will, could confuse. So on Astro, I never do clean sensor dust. I do it manually. Okay. Then destination, where are we going to go? So we're going to go to this folder, training images. I'm going to create a new folder by right-clicking. I'm going to create a 12. So we go 2025, folder 12 for December. Going to choose the folder. There it is there. And it's going to create me the folder it goes into, which comes from this information here. 2025 12/08. That's the day I shot them. Well, that is today's date, but it'll put them in 2025 12/06. 2,215 images. Now, if I wanted to, I could click down to the down the bottom, or none, sorry, and I could save this as a preset if I was going to do this a lot. So all I would have to do is select the images, select the preset, and press import. So now it's going to go through those motions. It's going to import those 200 odd images, bring them into the catalog, and as you can see, it's copying and importing. Then it will start going through the extra actions I've asked it to do. So it's done the renaming. It's going to convert to DNG. There we go. So it's already imported them. It's building the smart previews. It's indexing the previews. It's converting to a DNG, and it will start looking at Face ID and so on. I've turned off assistant culling because at the moment it's for portraits realistically only, and I don't use that. So it's building all that. Once it's finished these three actions, it'll start putting them into this collection and syncing with my devices and the cloud, web browser, mobile, etc. Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
Could you have set for virtual copies on the import?
You can't do virtual copies on import, I was thinking. You would have to wait for them to import and then create virtual copies.
And then remove the originals if you want,
Why would you remove the originals?
because it's in a collection.
You would so I would
I mean,
Yeah, go on.
remove from collection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, so if I wanted to do virtual copies, so I've got my original and now I want to edit, which we're going to look at in my workflow in a second. I would select them all, I'd create a new collection and then create a virtual copy in that new collection. So once this is finished, this collection, I will show you what I would do. And there's several different
Okay.
ways to do that. But you got me thinking, I don't think there is a way of creating a virtual copy on import. I will have a think about that.
Because I tend to keep my originals in the folder and
Yeah,
then virtuals in the collections, which
yeah,
I edit.
yeah. If that works for you, that's perfectly. I will keep the top collection as my originals, and sometimes I will write original in there.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, because I might want those original images in another module. Okay, where I can't have them in. Um, so there you go. So now we've got
Uh,
the 215. So now I would go for what you're saying, Jay. I would select all. I would create a new copy, a new collection, or I could duplicate. I could go right click and duplicate, but I'm going to go create a new collection, sale worthy, church. Oh, see what I mean? Now you've got to type in BC and then include selected, but I'm going to create virtual copies. Okay, make new virtual copies, and I can sync if I want to. So now these is creating me a new collection. And there we go. And these are all virtual copies. Okay, so that's the way I would do it. However, I wouldn't do it at this point. I'm just going to delete that. So there's my images. Okay, so I know they're all keyworded. If I had smart collections, they'd all be ready, all be done. Now it's about getting what I call a base edit. John and others that have been here a while will have heard that terminology. So I'm going to take this image here, and it's about culling and creating the images. Okay, base edits. So there is my image. There's my 200 I've taken. Okay, so I'm going to select, and how I remembered was we talk about um, halving and doubling. So this is where I started at 3200 ISO, 1.8 is my aperture. This is a 20mm lens, 1.8, 15 seconds. That's what I start with. Now I'm reducing my 12 seconds. I'm letting less light in. Right, now I'm sitting there and going, right, this is 3200. This is 1600. So the sensitivity of my sensor is half of what that is. 3200, 1600. So I've halved it. It's darker. It's half as light. Okay. Gone on to the next one. I've kept it at 1600. ISO is the same, but I've halved the shutter speed from 15 to 8 seconds. So this first image is 4 times brighter than the second image, this image here, because it's half the ISO, half as sensitive the sensor, and half the amount of light has come into the lens. Okay. And again, I've halved the ISO on this image. It's now 800. I've gone from 16. This is twice as bright as this one. But I've left 8 seconds. Okay. Why have I left 8 seconds? Anybody? What does time do to an image?
Well, you'll have
The
star
stars will
trails.
move.
Yeah, I'm capturing movement. Yeah, the longer the shutter speed, so I'm capturing you see the clouds are moving. Okay, the building's not going to move because I'm moving with the building as the planets are going around the sun, as the galaxy or the solar system is going around the galaxy. I'm going around with it. What is moving is the wind's moving the clouds, and the stars, you can see the white dots, they're moving in relationship to me. Okay, quantum theory, quantum physics, and so on, all the rest of it, etc. Speed of light, very interesting. Not so. 8 seconds is going to give me a bit of movement. And we talked about in this workshop how to get your stars all in focus and so on, etc. So this image is 8 seconds at 800 ISO. But I want to half my shutter speed to get a more pin sharp image, but I want the same exposure. So I've halved my shutter speed from 8 to 4, but I've doubled my ISO. So I've taken away with one, I've added to the other. So I get the same exposure. Yeah. Okay. So I've gone 4 seconds. Therefore, there's less movement in the shot, less star trails, more pin sharp images of stars rather than blur. But I needed to increase my ISO because I took away less light. And that's where I set at. And this is a part of the 200 images it was taking, a 4 second exposure. And there we go. So I now want to pick those images. Okay. So I'm now 400. There we go. I think that's the one there. So that's my first image. I'm going to come down to the end. And that probably is the last image there. And I'm going to pick them. Now I could have a smart collection. I could use a filter. But I've now done my culling for those images. Okay. Straightforward. All right. Because I knew what I taught. I could reject these two, press X, and I'm picking rejecting. Now, sometimes I press my Shift Caps key, or I go up to Photo Auto Advance, turn that on, and I go pick X, pick, and it goes on all the images. And it moves on, it advances on each image. Okay, sometimes I have turned on my attributes and we go to turn on the unflag, and there's my unflagged images. Okay. So there's not one way of doing it. It's what you're comfortable with, where you want to get to. Okay. So I've now selected those images. Now, what I do is I'm going to take these images here and I'm just going to put a 6, which is a red color label. I'm going to edit them. Okay. So I'm going to take this image. At the moment, it's a preview. Press D, takes me into develop. I'm now looking at the image. And there's not one right or wrong way of doing anything in your workflow. But the first thing I want to do is sort out my histogram. That's the way I work. So I'm going to bring the whites up to where I want the whites. What I'm doing is I'm telling Lightroom what is white. Okay. Stars are always going to be white. And this is a numerical value. This is a technical value of what white is. I can press J and turn on the clipping mask. Everything's blue is crushed. It's blacker than black, blacker than 0. I could use the black slider now and take it up. I'm moving the black up. It's an aesthetic feel. You don't have to have that black. I can bring up my exposure. Okay, so I'm bringing up the exposure of the property. I'm now blowing out the whites, so I can bring the whites down. But it's, what are you trying to photograph? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to do? And all I am doing here is I'm creating what I call a base edit. Okay. So I'm setting my black and white point, and I'm just setting that for demonstration. I'm not doing any contrast or anything like that. I may open up my shadows. Let's bring up some shadows. May bring some highlights down, and I'm dancing to. And there we go. Something like that. Yeah, I'll do. Yeah, just the base edit. When I do Astro, we always set the ISO, the white balance at a numerical value. And I normally do it 4,000. For some reason it says 4,150. And you can type in the box 4,000. Okay. And what that means is every image is the same color. Okay, the light is the same color. So when you flick through on the back of the camera, you're not getting different colors of light. Okay, so there's my image there. Straightforward. And what I can do is I can sync all those effects that I've done to that image. Tickle, synchronize, and that's it. I've now applied them to all those images. And that's what I call a base edit. Okay, other things could have been done. Okay, I'm not doing contrast, that's stylization. I'm setting the parameters. I could sit there and go to my transform. So I'll go to my lens correction, turn on chromatic aberration, turn on my lens profile. I can correct how I want it to look, as in change the perspective of the vehicle image if I so wish. So I could turn on constrain crop and say I want it like that. No, I don't want it like that at all. I would have cropped it properly if I was actually taking the photograph for me, but there's the image. When I do denoise, go to the detail panel. This is the first thing I do. Click the denoise button, but it's an astro image. I don't do denoise. I don't do dust, because it will then say, oh, all these dots, they're stars. No, they're sensor dust. Are they? Aren't they? I will know when I go through them. Okay, so all these things I will say, right, I'm going to apply. And once I've got what I call, and some of you will have heard this before, a base edit, I will then go, right, there they are. I will then do what Jay said earlier, create a collection, call it base edits. Okay, create virtual copies. There we go, virtual copies in Astro, base edits. And I've only put 4 in there. Okay, then at that point, I can then start stylizing them. Now I could do it from here. I could create another collection if I wanted to, and now I'll start stylizing them. So, and that could be a multitude of things. Well, let's just play. Let's bring out some contrasts. Let's bring out some dehaze. Let's bring out some vibrance. What do I want to do? I don't know. And I'll sit there and just play. Bring in some contrast here. Yeah, I don't know what I want to do. A lot of images, I do not know what I want to do. You know, it's creativity. And by playing, you sit and go, oh, okay. And this is what virtual copies are great for. You know, you can sit there and just play. Sit and go, well, what happens if I do this? If I bring down the white in the tone curve? Yeah, if I make the blacks a bit grungier. Okay. What would it look like? How would it make me feel? I don't know until I play with it. You know, what am I photographing? It's a question I ask a lot. I say a lot. What have you photographed? Okay. And we will just play. And then once I've done one image, sync settings, select all, sync across them. And then I've got a series of images that I can go N and look at. I don't know. Yeah. Do not know. Now, because I've put these in the cloud, and I can put these 4 in the cloud as well by ticking the box, I can walk away and see these on my smartphone, in Lightroom. This is Lightroom, okay, on a desktop, but it could be an iPad. And I can reverse the order. There they are. Okay, with all the edits and everything that I've done. And there is the new collection I've just started to sync, and the 4 images will appear in here. There we go, we're just syncing away, and they'll appear shortly. But that's how I import, I pick, reject, I do the majority of the keywords already, and they're for me to find them. Okay, just wait for those to come across. Let's just go back. So, and that's how I edit. And then I'll sit there and go, do I like this? Don't I like this? Well, let's create another. Select those four, those three. Create a new collection. Create them as virtual copies at this moment in time. So version 2. And there we go. And now I can sit and go, oh, I wonder what that would look like if I went D and then the basic panel. Where am I? Detail basic panel. Go black and white. Well, let's make this a bit darker, a bit moodier. Yeah, do I like it? Don't I like it? Do I want to use a preset? Come to a preset. So let's go undo a couple of times. Back to where I was. Let's go to a preset. Let's go to a landscape preset. And I will sit there and a lot of time I will scroll through inspiration. All right. And just wait for this to work its magic. Detecting, there we go. So, oh, do I want to do that? Do I want to do that? Do I want to do that? And these are AI masks. These are landscape AI masks. Well, actually, I quite like that one. Right, so I click on it. It's going to apply it. Go back to G. Click on all three of them. Sync. Sync all. And that's it. And now it's going, because it's an AI mask, it's going through everything. All the vegetation, all the architecture, all the sky, and it's applying the appropriate settings to each image, for each image. And then I can sit and go, right, do I like those? N, tab. L for lights. Do I like those? Not quite sure. Yeah. Press L again. Go back, G. Walk away, come back. Go back to the original base settings. Go back to the original images. But they're all syncing in the cloud. Okay, so I can sync version 2 in the cloud. I can pick them up on my mobile phone. For some reason that's still syncing. Probably still syncing the 800, the 200 and something. That's still syncing. Okay. There's no right or wrong way. But that's basically my workflow. And you saw me, it's 215 images done. But I will batch import for the narrative. So if I walk around a corner and had slightly different images of perhaps of the graveyard, not the church, I would import those differently because I put graveyard as a keyword. They would go into a different collection. Okay.
Mark,
Yes, Tim.
when you sync it to Lightroom, are they by default private?
Yes, by default they're private. Yes.
Okay.
So they're only going to your devices.
Yeah.
And you need to log into the web browser so you can see top right hand corner here it says make public.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So until you hit that, you don't get a URL. You can also do it this way by going right click and make public here.
Yeah.
If you want to share a album or a collection, let's put that out of the way for a second. We need to go to Lightroom for that. So we take this one here and we click on the silhouette and then we share it here and we send an email, an invite. It's private then. They need an Adobe account and they then see the images. But and you can select whether let's get back. You can select whether people can share the link. So they'll get an invite and they can then get the link and you can tick, can they share that with, whoever. So you can make it totally private for you, totally private for you and your friends, or totally private for you, your friends and their friends. So there's lots of different settings. And then you can then decide the people that have been invited, what permissions they want to do. But we'll do all that in the new year. But as a general statement, as default, they're always private.
Thanks.
What's the shortcut for that silhouette?
Oh, that's a question, David. I don't know. Do you know it?
No,
I don't know if there is one.
because I haven't got Lightroom open at the moment. But when I had it on the other day, it wasn't actually in the taskbar. I hunted around, but I couldn't find it.
That might be because, yeah, because you're probably on a single image. If you're on single image, you don't get the silhouette. It's only in the grid view.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Right. So
Check that out.
I'm not aware. I'll look it up for you and come back to you or send you an email. I don't think there's a shortcut for that. Um, yeah, I'm sure there isn't. Um, but unlike Classic, there's no shortcut splash panel. You know, in let me show you. So if you ever want to know,
Yeah, just in grid. Yeah,
yeah.
I
So
just opened it up. Now look. Yeah,
yeah. So if you go to help in Classic, if you go to help, you can
yeah,
come down to the bottom, and it's command forward slash, if I remember rightly, and it picks up this
yeah, yeah,
this shortcut, and it's every panel is different, so or every module is different. So if I go to the develop module and go help shortcuts, you'll get the develop all the shortcut keys. I don't, and if to get rid of it, you click on it.
yeah,
But in Lightroom, it's so we're in the grid view. If I press spacebar, it disappears.
yeah.
It's only in the grid views that you get the silhouettes. So I'm not aware of a shortcut for it. Don't.
That's probably why I couldn't find it then.
Yeah. So,
Thank you.
And if you sync from Lightroom Classic to Lightroom, it doesn't use your space.
yeah, yeah, because it's a smart preview. So it gives it a small raw file that allows you to print roughly a 10 by 8 print, allows you to edit it, but it doesn't count towards your storage. It's only the file, the original picture file that you take with your device and you upload either via Lightroom, via a web browser to the cloud that counts towards storage. Remembering that Classic does not upload video, it's only Lightroom that uploads video. So you can take a video with your mobile phone, upload it to Lightroom, and allow it to sync to Classic, and the file will come down to Classic. It's counting towards your storage because it's gone via Lightroom, but you can't send a video from Classic to Lightroom. How you would get a video back up there, you'd either use the desktop, Lightroom desktop, or the web browser to import a video and put it up there. So there we go. So that's basically my workflow.
Could
And I've
you,
streamed. Yes,
when
Jay.
you backed up, I think off the history panel, how do you do that? I always use Command Z, but
Correct. Yeah.
how did you do it on the history panel?
Yeah. Showing that. So what Jay's doing, if you want to undo something, the keyboard shortcut is an old keyboard shortcut from the DOS days, disk operating system, where Command Z, Command Z, Command X, Command S, Command A. So Command A is select all, Command D is deselect, Command S is save, so you can save all your metadata. Command Z is to undo, so you can go undo select all, Command Z, and they're all written here. And these are for the old keyboard shortcuts. Now, what Jay's talking about, if I take this image here, go into the develop module, in the history panel down here would have all my edits. So I'm scrolling through, there's all my edits. See how quick that is rendering because I've got one-to-one previews. Okay, these are all, there's no rendering time at all because they're all one-to-one previews.
And you're scrolling with the arrow key?
Yeah, I'm scrolling with the arrow key. Yeah. Yeah. So let's go to here. So Jay was talking about D for develop. How do I go here? So Command Z would undo, but I can just jump back in the history panel. And if I make an adjustment to this clarity slider or at any point in there, it then removes all the history. Press Command Z, it undoes it. Okay, so it's
Okay.
Control Z on a PC, Command Z on a Mac, but you can go Command C for copy and then go to new image and Control Command V to paste. So that will copy your settings and paste your settings. So and the old days of Word Star and Word Perfect before Microsoft Word got its handles on everybody. That's what we used to do. Select the text with our mouse, Commands C to copy it, click with our mouse, Control V, Command V to paste the text. And they're legacy commands, which is Classic is a legacy product from the 90s. So it had all those things in there, and because we're a creature of comfort, creature of habit, it does that. So there we go. Has anyone got any questions about that?
No.
No? So that's basically my workflow. And I can import cull images. We're not talking about digital asset management. We're just about importing them and picking them quickly and editing them quickly. I can do 1,000 images in a quarter of an hour because I sync the edits. When a group of images are the same, I'll edit one, I'll sync them, and then perhaps I'll go back to culling. I'll have those 6 or 7 images. Let's say it's a bird flying through the shot. Which one do I want? I've edited them all generally. Only just done general edits. I haven't done any local edits yet. Oh, I don't like. I prefer that one, and I prefer that one. So out of those 6, 4 of them will disappear. So I'll reject them. I'm now down to those 2. And to me, it's a straightforward yes, no. Do I like it? Don't I like it? Is it better? Is that one better than that one? Well, if that one's better than that one, then that one gets an X on it. I'm not deleting anything. I'm putting a filter, a black flag on the image to say, at this moment in time, because I can change my mind, I don't like it. Take it away from me. Don't want to see it. I just want to focus on where am I doing my base edits? What do I like? And then I go on to titivating my edits, my stylization, doing local adjustments. Then when I'm happy with the image, I know that's the image that I'm going to work with, I'll do the rest of my metadata. So description, keywords, title, etc. And again, I might sync all those as well. Or I may have a preset that I select from a preset. Boom, and just change a few words in the preset. And that's it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone, any questions? It's a lot to take in. It's a lot that I've gone through. I appreciate that. Deadly silence. No? Okay. Everyone happy with that? Everyone understood and
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah, right. Okay. So I'm going to show you now what I'm calling Lightroom Quicks. So for this week's Lightroom Quick, we're going to look at something that several people have asked me. Jay's asked me in the past, and Tim has asked me, I believe, quite recently. Can you sync smart collections to the cloud? Yeah? And the default answer is
No.
no. Classic is not designed out of the box to sync smart collections to the cloud. Lightroom has just in the last 6 months, that's Lightroom Mobile, Lightroom Web, Lightroom Desktop, has brought out a new functionality, and I call it a memory saving. That's the easiest way to describe it. You do a search, red car, and you can save that search as an album, a smart album. Okay. And anytime Lightroom in the cloud, because it's only a cloud functionality, finds a red car, it'll put it in that album. So it's an AI searching functionality of what you've asked it. So it's narrative based. It's not, does it meet a criteria? It scans the image, looks, and you could say, oh, this date, this, that, and so on. You could say, all the red cars taken in December this year. And it'll look for the date and so on. You might have to be quite specific in the format you use, the date, but you get the principle, yeah? But you're saving that memory, that what you've asked it, that action into. It's not, as far as I'm concerned, as definitive as asking the particular questions like we can in Classic. Okay? So what has been the workaround? Anybody? What's been the workaround?
Duplicating the smart collection and syncing
Yeah.
that.
So we create a smart collection, picked images, and we go, and we can ask obviously multiple questions. Images are picked, smart collection, there they are. And then the workaround is what we do is we select all, press plus, create a collection with those images in there, picked images, and we hit the sync button down here. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. I'm not going to hit the sync button. I'm just going to create the thing. Okay. What's the problem with that?
Static at that date.
Brilliant. Static at that moment in time. At the moment in time that we selected all and applied them to that static collection, that's it. Where the smart collection, when I added more picked images or took the pick away, unflagged, rejected, that smart collection would change. But the static collection wouldn't. So you would have to manually add or remove them from that static collection. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we used a smart collection to get the answer to our question. Show me all my picked images that I took in December in Minehead. There's the answer. Select all, create a new collection, put them in the collection, make sure it's synced to the cloud, and that's it. And now I can share that if I wish. It's across my devices, whatever I want to do with it. Okay? However, there's a couple of reasons why I love Classic, why I believe Lightroom and Lightroom Classic, for all its faults, for all of Adobe's things that we may disagree with, what it says, what it does, etc., and so on, I still believe it's the industry's leading ecosystem for photographers. It's virtually every action for every type of photography, for every type of photographer. Everything you can think of. It might not be the best at X action, for example, LR time lapse. It doesn't do that realistically. It might be better for applying masks in Photoshop. You may prefer the stylization of Nixoff silver effects for black and white. That's a tonal choice for you. But Classic allows you to go off to other applications. It also allows third parties to write plugins. And plugins are little pieces of software that allows us to customize an action. Could be anything. putting our images in Dropbox, okay, using Behance, using Flickr, using published services, uploading your images to a website, FTP, file transfer protocol, sending emails from Classic as an attachment, all these things, there are plugins. Okay, you look using a service called Photo Shelter. Well, you don't want to export them, you don't want to put them on your desktop, you don't want to send them to Photo Shelter. So what you want to do is have a connection from Classic to your Photo Shelter account. A plugin will allow you to do that. And you could, there are 7,000, 8,000 in the exchange. So you type exchange.adobe.com and you can see all the plugins for lots of Adobe software, from Premiere to Photoshop. There's one called Digimark. And what it does, it puts invisible noise on the image. And they've got a trawler that actually hunts for that image. And you can put, where we put QR codes on it, on images these days, for people to scan the QR code. You can hold over your phone with the reader in an advert in a magazine, and the watermark's embedded in the image. You can't see it. And that's called Digimark. All these things there, that's more commercial things. But there's tons of them. Anyway, plugin manager. So it's under File, Plugin Manager, and we got lots of different plugins. Well, this guy, JF Smarts Collection Sync, Jeffrey, has made this plugin. And I've had it a couple of days now. And yeah, it's a bit of setting up to do, but it works very well. And what we can do is we can create rules, how we do things, okay? So let me just show you a few things to start with. Plugin Manager. And it took me a little while to get my head around. It's free for 8 weeks, and then it'll only do 10 images at a time. But the payment is a donation. It's a one-time donation. I sent him $12, £10, and I have this license. And that's a genuine license, okay? So how does it work? Well, we create a smart collection, and we can tell the plugin different ways of this is the smart collection, because it doesn't have to be all smart collections. We tell it with I call it a handle. It's a handle, it's a tag. We add a tag to a particular smart collection, and then it makes a collection that he calls them companion collections, I think they're called, which is like an additional collection as virtual copies. And it's that collection that syncs to the cloud. Okay. And the standard tag is greater than, exclamation mark, less than. That's the tag. Okay. So what I can do is, let's take this collection. No, it's not a smart collection. So let's create a smart collection. Create a smart collection. We're going to call it birds. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. Smart collection. I'm going to call it birds. And I'm going to put that tag in. Okay. I just copied it and pasted it. And we're going to go, hopefully we've got some metadata in here for this. Keywords contains, just wait for that to pop up. There we go, bird. And we have 34 images in there. Why? That's got those images in there, but there we go. We've got 34 images in there, okay? So we've got this smart collection called bird. Now, what we have to do the first time is we have to manually say run the plugin. So we come up to File, Plugin Manager, Sync Now. And you can see here it's made this collection. It's actually done what we've asked it to do in our manual process. It's taken this collection, smart collection, and created a collection. But I'm now going to sync it to the cloud. So at this point, everything's manual. Okay. So I've got this collection. It's made a companion and it's syncing. Let's go back to the plugin. I want to show you some things. I've decided to put all my companion collections in a collection set. And there is the collection set. I can also ask it to sync 2 ways or 1 way. What does that mean? 1 way just sends it from Classic. 2 way is when the collection gets to Lightroom and I do an adjustment in Lightroom. It could be picking, could be taking the keyword off, whatever. It takes it out of the collection. It's a 2-way sync. But what I can also do is I can set this automation. Every minute, the plugin will look at this smart collection and then synchronize with the companion and synchronize with the cloud. So we've got on this image here, bird. Okay, if I go to my keyword list, that might be easier. Okay, going to select those, find bird. There we go. We'll take them off. Okay, and you can see they've been removed from the smart collection, but they've also been removed from the collection. Okay, I'm going to now do it in the smart collection. So I think I accidentally did it in the collection. I'm now going to do it in the smart collection. Okay, I'm going to untick 26 images here. We wait a minute and this will change to 26 in a minute. Okay, I've set it, remember I've set it for every minute. Okay, if I wish to, I could actually run it manually. All right, but now if I go to Lightroom, there's the collections come in, 29 images. Okay, but we wait the minute and that will update shortly. Okay, or I can manually run it. There we go. It's now updated. Look, I didn't do anything. There's the 26. Okay, I'm going to wait for that to sync. We'll go back to Lightroom. This marker command, this can be applied to a collection set. Okay, so I could say, let's create a collection set. And we're just going to call it collections. And I'm going to put that at the end. Okay. And I'm just going to drop in some smart collections. Okay, so let's picked images. Let's see if I've got any color labels. Smart collection, red. Okay, it's going to go into here. I'm going to go color label, red. See if I've got any. Yes, I've got 11. Okay, and it'll take a little while, and I've got to run it the first time. So go click on the collection, go file, scan. It'll run, it'll make them, and it'll sync them to the cloud. Okay, and now if I bring down Lightroom, remember it was 26. There's 26 images in there. It's done it automatically. So by doing that, that's how you get smart collections into a collection into the cloud automatically by a little plugin. Okay, very good little plugin. And so it's donation only. I suppose you want the link, don't you? That would help, wouldn't it?
Yes. I was just going to ask for that.
Well, I didn't want to mention it, but there we go. Let's see if I can find you the link quickly.
You would get it in the exchange?
Yeah, well, you find some in the exchange and some not in the exchange. So
But the Jeffrey one, is that in the exchange?
I didn't find it in the exchange. I
Okay.
went looking. So I had this idea that each week I would do something like this in between your asking support and so on. It's in between the section. I'd do this, and I'd do this randomly each week. I've put it in the chat. The web link is in the chat. So if you just open your chat bot, if you're interested in the plugin, if you just open the chat, you'll be able to click on the link and it'll take you to his blog, to the actual link. So say it's totally free. If you don't want to give him any money at all, it'll run for 8 weeks in the full version. And then after 8 weeks, I think it only does 10 images at a time. But you can donate him if you read the blog. You say you can send him a penny. He'll give you the registration code, or I think it's the PayPal transaction ID. You just paste it in there, and that's it. And I sent him £10, which was $12. So you get a license for life, and he does lots of these little plugins. But yeah, it's automated, so it takes you a little while to get your head round. You put that little special marker, and you can change the marker. You could change it to two question marks if you want to do. So any collection that's got two question marks, or any collection inside a collection set, smart collection, sorry, any smart collection in a collection set, and the collection set's got two question marks, it will look at that, and you've got to run it once to start with. It will build the companion collection, and that companion collection can be in a different collection set, or it can be next to the smart collection. You can choose. So it's quite customizable. And then you can say, right, every minute, look at those smart collections. If they've been updated, update the companion, and the companion syncs to the cloud. So it's a way of getting that automation of smart collections syncing a minute or five. I think 5 minutes is the default, but I changed mine to a minute. And away we go. And it
It,
automatically syncs that collection. Sorry, Jay.
it's great. His blog looks like the old freeware days.
Yeah, yeah,
It was actually, I got a real kick out of it when I saw the
yeah,
blog.
yeah.
It really goes back to the old open source freeware
Yeah.
computer
He's a computer
days.
programmer. He's a computer programmer. So, but yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So, and that's what the quicks are going to be about. I'm going to bring each week. I will not make my mind up what we're going to do, but in this section after the skill, whatever it is, so the 3 weeks of syncing, I'm going to do something random that I think that may be of interest to you. For Lightroom Classic, that may, you've asked the question, I've gone away, and okay, let's have a think about that, why, and so on, and what's the solution? And I came across this not so long ago. Oh, brilliant! This is, and I've played with it for a few days, and I then bought it, and yeah, it does it. But it's the automation. Once you've set it up, once you've understood that you set the smart collections, and they don't have to be all the smart collections, just the ones that you want, and you can leave them where they currently are. You don't need to put them into a special collection set or anything. You can just add your marker tag at the end. So in this case, the less than, exclamation mark, greater than, you just put that on the end of the smart collection. You run the plugin, it makes the companion act. You tick sync to cloud. It syncs them. That's it. And that's all you got to do. Done. Or you can create a whole collection set with them all in, if that's your workflow. But for me, I've just gone through. I've deleted so many collections, just standard collections that I sync with the cloud. For example, all my red color labels, all my images that are not picked, that I want to pick, that I want to color. Now I've got this automatic smart collection. All my unflagged images are in the cloud, And as I go, and it's two-way syncing, I've ticked the little box or bullet point two-way syncing. When I pick and reject them on my iPad or on my phone, I'm on the train going to Bath the other day. On the train, picked it syncs to the cloud. It syncs back to classic. It takes it out the smart collection. Does it all for me. Oh, what a brilliant! Right, so now all my unflagged images, the ones that I haven't culled, are now all in the cloud, which is why I've got over 180,000 images in the cloud. And I haven't put them all up there yet. Put most of them, but not all of them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions about that?
No?
No?
It's really brilliant
Yeah.
plugin.
Yeah, I think it's great. Absolutely brilliant. Just got to get your head around what you want to use it. And we can revisit again in a couple of weeks in the new year if you've got questions about it and so on. Took my head a little bit of time to get round it. You've got that marker code, and you can change the marker code to 2 question marks or whatever you want. And wherever you put it, you then got to run the app. And that's the bit that syncs to the cloud, that companion app. And then it's working. That's it done. So, okay. So it's now over to, have you got any questions? Anything you need help with?
Yeah, hello, Mark.
Hi, Adi. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thanks yourself.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
When I add a mask now in Lightroom, if I click on like the subject, the actual subject is going dark even when the show overlay is unticked.
have you got a setting that you've already applied before you apply the mask? So, for example, you've turned the exposure down,
No, I don't think so.
and there is also different overlay settings. So, if you click on the mask, you've got white and black and so on, and color and etc.
That's just clicked on color overlay.
Yeah, yeah, color overlay. Yeah, but I expect if it's you're selecting a mask, so let's go here, subject. When you hit on the subject, you've already got let's say the exposure is already set underexposed.
Okay.
So that's applying it to the mask as you've done the action. That is what I would expect. But what happens if you click on the show overlay and you've clicked on white? Does that?
Yeah, they just turned like some of my overlays red at the moment, and then
Yeah,
like it just turns red. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But you're saying with no overlay, it's dark.
Yeah, it goes dark. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would expect that the exposure slider is at a negative when you apply it. So
Right.
before you do the mask, go to your panel, not the basic panel, but the mask panel, and double click on exposure, contrast, highlight, shadow. So they're all 0.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you should be able to, yeah, if you hit Control Alt, it'll turn it to reset value or reset tone in the tonal value. Yeah. And they'll all be 0.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then do your mask. That will be my suspect is it's taken it like as a memory from a previous selection and you'd made it darker.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so
I'll give that a go.
that's my gut instinct to
Yeah.
your question.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone any questions before we call it a night? And
No?
okay then, I'll leave you to it. I wish you all happy holidays. Thank you for putting up with me throughout the year. I hope I've helped you a little bit. And if you've got a question, drop me an email over the recess and 12th of January. 7 o'clock, 12th of January, you'll get an email once a week or so reminding you about things like early birds, early bird, on a Wednesday type of thing. But when we start in January, you'll only get the Monday email or beginning of the week email newsletter, and it'll say this is what's happening in our next one. Here's your early bird, and it's normally the Wednesday or the Friday it finishes. So you'll have less emails from me. So, okay. Well, it's been an honour and privilege. I hope I see you in January. Happy holidays and happy photography, as I say.
Thanks for everything this year, Mark. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Right.
thank
Take
you.
care. Enjoy.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 Bye bye.